Sifu Raphael is the founder and host of Coaching Call, Heroes Rising, The Sear Show, and New Tip Daily. He works with individuals, groups, and businesses and helps them find clarity, purpose, and understanding of who they really are in business and personal life. Sifu Raphael has used his skills to develop a variety of multifaceted businesses in the martial arts and fitness industries. He owns and operates a 10,000 square foot martial arts and fitness facility in New York. Jose Escobar is an award-winning, nationally recognized personal development speaker, published author, and sales professional. He leads compelling, high-level communities consisting of entrepreneurs and advanced leaders through his two business models, the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf and the Connected Leaders Academy. He is also the co-host of Heroes Rising.
Jose, happy Friday, my friend. How are you today?
Today is not your ordinary Friday. You know why?
Okay. Tell me.
Because it's Heroes Rising Day.
There it is.
It's Heroes Rising Friday, and I am thrilled, excited, honored, and just can't get ready to go. So let's just keep it going. I'm excited.
We have two exceptional guests. Why don't we go ahead and bring them out? We have Jerry and Stavros. Guys, it is a pleasure to have you joining us today. How are you all?
Great. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, same. Glad I said hello. Wound up here.
You are here. Let's get started, right? So I want to introduce you guys to Stavros. Stavros is a 30-year veteran of weight loss in the weight loss field, and he is the founder of the Stavros Method, an unconventional approach to weight loss that helps people lose weight for life. That's life. By teaching them how to put their weight loss efforts on autopilot. He was born and raised in a very healthy region in Greece, and it's quite unique. Stavros, we'd love to hear how you're helping so many people, my friend.
Well, let's start with getting to the core of the problem. And I always tell people that nobody has a weight problem. What we have is a behavioral problem. Weight gain and whatever other health issues we have is really the side effect. So to me, if you want to lose weight and get in shape for life, all I help people do is change the habitual behaviors that got them overweight and replace those behaviors with healthier ones. And because whatever changes we help them make become second nature to them, it's like putting the fitness program on autopilot. And, and that's really the key to sustainable weight loss is your habits.
So when you talk about putting your weight loss on autopilot, what does that mean? You mean somebody else is going to prepare my meals? Somebody else is going to work out for me?
No, actually, you send your body to the gym, somebody works it out and brings it back to you all brand new. Wouldn't that be nice, though?
I think Jerry wants that too.
No, what I mean by autopilot is, think about it. 95% of your day is run by habitual behaviors. That basically your subconscious mind runs the majority of your day. Now, if you look at a typical weight loss or fitness program, what happens is those programs rely on the conscious mind to make all the decisions. In other words, whether it's to count calories, measuring your food. What I do is whatever behaviors I help people develop through which they lose the weight and get in shape, I make sure that those behaviors are taken over by the subconscious mind. In other words, they become like an autopilot because the subconscious mind is the autopilot of your body. So once your subconscious mind starts running those behaviors, well, your fitness program is an autopilot. It doesn't require any thinking. And I got that idea, by the way, from having been raised in Greece. Because I remember when I got into the fitness industry, when I moved to the States, it took a lot of effort, a lot of mental effort to lose weight and get in shape. And personally, I kept burning out. I'm like, I don't know how can people stick with this. And then when I look back where I was raised in Greece, I said, well, thin and healthy was the norm. Cancer was a rare disease. And I was thinking, well, we never spend any time thinking about diet or about exercising, about health at all. It was just magically we were healthy. And when I started digging a little bit, I realized, well, the reason that we didn't have to think about our health is because all the healthy behaviors that kept us in shape, in other words, the way we ate, were all habitual behaviors that were passed down by our traditions. So basically, what I teach people is how to develop new traditions to help them develop all the right habits so they become part of the lifestyle so that this way they engage in them without having to think.
I love it. I love it. When we think about working out, I always associate, because I've been working out my whole life. The minute I was able to understand that, hey, I can move, I just went with it. It really drove me. And a lot of people look at me and they're like, how do you do it? All I have to say is, how do I not do it? How can I, if I don't work out, I am a different person. I totally am. So for me, working out is everything. And I know Jose, he's done 75 hard. He could probably talk to you about that stuff. And when we think about our fitness, it should be fun. What do you think?
But,
You
Functional
broke up there.
fitness.
What was that last piece? What'd you say?
yeah, I got cut off for a second.
I got cut off?
Yeah.
Oh, I said when we work out, we should consider functional fitness. What are your thoughts on functional fitness?
Actually, it's a good point you bring up. You know what I tell people? The first goal of an exercise program is actually to develop a habit of exercising. So, in other words, in the beginning, I tell people, if you, let's say you never exercised, I say the first goal is to get into the behavior of moving. How can you do that? Repetition. You see, if somebody looked at you because you worked out a lot, but you love it, because this for you is a habitual behavior. So people look at somebody like you and thinking, "Oh, that's all I have to. If I have to do all that stuff, they're burnt out by just thinking about it." So what I do instead is I tell them, "Okay, let's say you want to develop the habit of walking. Instead of telling them to go and start walking for 30 or 40 minutes, which ideally that would be great, I tell them start walking every day for 5 minutes." And usually look at me like, well, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, not gonna do anything. I'm like, I know it's not gonna do anything. Well, it's gonna do something, but it's not gonna do much. But you cannot come to me next week and tell me I didn't find 5 minutes to walk. So the first goal is to get into the behavior of walking by making the action so ridiculously small and easy to do, you can't talk yourself out of it, which means it's easy for you to keep repeating. Well, repetitions builds behaviors. So after a few weeks of walking only 5 minutes, well, guess what? You can help it, but all of a sudden you can find yourself walking 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And before you know it, you have the habit of walking. Then you can repeat the same process for exercising. Stick with very basic. Maybe start with doing some simple push-ups or some squats, and then you build onto that. Once you get into the habit of exercising regularly, that's when I'll start looking into function. In other words, start looking at, okay, what function you want to get better at. Let's say you're playing golf or you gardening. That's when I start worrying about that stuff. In the beginning, all I worry about is get them to develop the habit of exercising. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And I actually want to elaborate on that because I think I wrote this down. I want to forget. You're speaking essentially a lot of what James Clear talks about, atomic habits, right? How we start with small, simple steps and we build it over time.
Yes. Yep.
And he talks about the whole idea of like just flossing one or two teeth initially.
Yep.
And then you're going to a few, then you use the upper half, then you do the bottom, and next thing you know, it's a habit, right? You start somewhere to get somewhere. And also, folks will say outside of the habitual piece of doing it, they'll say, I don't have the time to work out, right? Which I have said that many times. And I think it's true that if we make working out and fitness a priority, then we will create the time because we all have the same amount of time. It's just a matter, is it a priority or is it not a priority? What are your thoughts on priority when it comes to your fitness? At what level is that a priority in one's life?
Well, I always tell people that health is not everything, but without it, nothing else matters.
Ooh,
Because at the end of the day, yes, you have to be healthy. I agree. But then if your fitness program takes up all your free time and makes you miserable, how much enjoyment you get out of it? So my advice is actually, in fact, that's the stuff that I do. I said, number one, stop thinking of exercising or working out as a chunk of time that, in other words, I have to go to the gym and work out for 30 minutes. The way I do my workout, I never work out for 30 minutes in a row anyway. I get up in the morning. I have like 2 or 3 things that I do every morning. I do some breathing work. I do some yoga moves. It takes me, I would say, maybe 5-10 minutes. Later in the day, in the middle of the day, I would do 3 or 4 other little stuff, like maybe some pull-ups, some push-ups. Before I go home, I do another 3 or 5. So in other words, my workout is spread throughout the day because I believe that, yes, some people might not have 30 minutes or an hour together to dedicate to exercising. But I bet everybody has 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 3 minutes there throughout the day that we can squeeze in the exercises. Obviously, the best thing would be if we can do 30 minutes in a row. Yes, obviously. But in the beginning, I tell people, well, squeeze in some push-ups here, some squats over there, some walking over here. And that's how you slowly get into the behavior of exercising.
Yeah, I totally agree. For example, I was just this past weekend, I was at an event and the gym didn't open up till 8 a.m. Meanwhile, I'm up at 3:15. So I said, okay, I'm going to work out in my room because I was up at 3:15. It's dark out. So at 4:30, it was a little bit of light. So I said, okay, I'll go work out. So I worked out between 2 palm trees and I've recorded it because I record a workout video every single day. I do it to encourage other people to work out. Somebody has the audio going on at the same time and I'm hearing echo. So you may have something going on. Echo means that you're just hearing me twice. Just saying.
Oh.
So go ahead. And when you talked about also the way you grew up in Greece, how people ate, because I think that's an important aspect as well.
Yes, we ate. Obviously, you've seen a lot of studies on the Mediterranean diet. And I think a very important aspect of the diet that I think a lot of them don't cover is the fact that we ate on average twice a day. I would say 1.5 because we ate one big meal and one small meal. Breakfast was something we never ate. I shouldn't say never. It was something you ate on the weekends. But during the week, most adults did not eat anything. You just had the coffee. Sometimes you had maybe a biscuit with it, but usually just coffee. We had a big lunch. Then we took a nap right after the lunch because relaxing after eating is really important for digestion. And then we had leftovers for dinner, was leftover lunch. Now, the funny part is in the village where my mother was raised, it was the exact opposite. They had a very light lunch and a heavy dinner. Why? Because in the villages, they didn't have a 3-hour lunch break. They only got 30 minutes and because they worked in the fields. So people instinctively, they knew if I have this big meal in the middle of the day, I won't be able to function afterwards. So they knew to eat light and then they had a heavier dinner. So that's why I think that's something that's been neglected sometimes. People keep focusing on what to eat, but I always tell people that it's not just what to eat, but it's also how you eat that plays a very big role to your health.
Totally agree. One of the things that a lot of people think, and they're going to say what you said makes sense, but then they're going to go, wait a minute. If I go to the fast food restaurant, I stop and I sit in my car, I'm comfortable, I'm eating, but it's not necessarily the best food for you. So people are going to fast food places out of convenience,
Yes.
not because it's necessarily the best meal they know they're going to eat. They do it because it's convenient. They're in between interviews, or they're going between jobs, or they want to get their kids something to eat. So we need to make sure that we understand the food we take in is going to affect us. So one of the things I always do is I talk to my food. I'm like, if I eat you, what are you going to do to me? How are you going to make me feel at the end of the day? And every time, if I keep consuming it, because in the US, the food manufacturers are making food to make us feel full, but we can eat tons of it. And just, it's a full feeling, but it's not really nutritional. So
Yeah.
there's this terrible thing about it.
No, I agree that actually they make the food become addictive too, to make sure that you want more. But to what you were talking about, how we've gotten to this behaviors of eating certain foods, like fast food is very convenient. I agree. And the way that I address that problem is that if you think about it, we usually eat the same 15 foods that we rotate through every month. If you look back and you look at the food that you're eating, usually it's between 13 to 15 foods that we rotate through. Now, I think why a lot of diets fail, well-meaning diets, by the way, is that they tell people, okay, all 13 foods that you're eating are really bad. So this is what you should be eating. Well, the problem is making such a huge changes in your life, and it's extremely inconvenient. Let's be realistic here. What my suggestion is, change one food at a time. So you look at your 13 or 15 foods. You say, okay, which is the worst food that I eat? Okay, let's say burgers. Okay, from McDonald's. Okay, let's eliminate that. What can I replace it with? So find something that you like, because to me, liking the food is important, because I don't believe in eating something just because it's healthy. You got to be something that you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it. So I'm sure there's something healthy that everybody can enjoy. Find that something, replace it, and stop putting it into the cycle of food that you're eating. Once you get used to eating that food and you make it part of your life, then pick another unhealthy food that you're eating, replace that unhealthy food with a better choice. And before you know it, eating healthy becomes convenient because it became habitual.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Great information. What I'd love to do right now is definitely bring my co-host, Jose Escobar. Man, this guy is a powerhouse. I'm telling you. He's an award-winning, nationally recognized personal development speaker. I don't know. I think he's on it says 7 here, but I think he's like on 28 published author, something like that. 25 years as a sales professional, husband and father to five kids. So he knows how to work with kids. He also leads compelling high-level communities consisting of entrepreneurs and advanced leaders through 2 multi-six-figure businesses. The Entrepreneur's Bookshelf, as you can tell, look at all the books behind him. This guy knows something about reading, and he helps other people get involved with reading. I think it's really one of the most important things that we can do every day is read. And also, he is the man behind the Connected Leaders Academy, a great platform. Jose is exceptional in his presence, in his presentations, where he has reached audiences collectively over 30 million, and radiates through his dynamic coaching programs, inspiring his international 300 plus entrepreneur and executive clientele to master their personal and professional excellence. His past sales experience have led him to amass over 30 million in revenue for the companies he has served. Jose, what is going on, my friend?
Good afternoon. Happy Friday. And as we all get into Memorial Day weekend, I know folks are probably traveling. You're probably sitting in an airport somewhere, stuck in the sea of people, looking to get to where you're going to get to. And, you know, a lot of great things to think about, in particular, those who have served the country and who are no longer with us. So shout out to all the military out there in the U.S. And also,
Jose, before you go on, is it okay if I share something with everybody?
absolutely.
All right, let's do this. Everybody take a look. This is the man we're talking about right here.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Woohoo! Yeah, Connected Leaders Academy. I mean, that thing is on fire.
Thank you, Sifu Raphael. Honored to be a sponsor of this amazing show, Heroes Rising, with you, and to be a co-host as well. So thank you for that amazing introduction, for sharing the video. And again, shout out to the military, all of you who are out there who are looking to enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, enjoy it with your families, embrace them, and just maybe take some time to slow down to speed up, as they say, right? Because a lot of us are on the grind. We're constantly moving. We're on the go. And we don't take the time to just look around at all the beauty and all the wonderful things that we have in our life, right? Because we're moving so fast. And a lot of times when we move so fast, we fail to see what's right in front of us. It's amazing how many people out there today, actively as we speak, are depressed, are going through burnout, are going through some level of anxiety and massive stress, to where they feel like they can't turn to anything, and the things they turn to might be medications or addictions, alcohol, drugs, you know, all kinds of things. But why? Because a lot of times we're not filled with gratitude, right? We're not taking the time to be grateful for all the blessings that we have right next to us in our immediate circle, right? You know, I'm here at home. My office is in my home. I'm a full-time entrepreneur now, and I love that, right? But I can easily get into a place where I'm like, you know what? There's always noise in the house. My kids are always making noises, and I can barely focus. And my wife is always asking me, "Hey, can you do this or do that?" Now that I'm home, she thinks I'm more available, and I have to go do this and that, right? So when I'm really trying to build a business, and my kids need me and distract me, and sometimes I'm on a call like this, and my 2-year-old will pop in the office. And I'm like under the camera, I'm doing this, like, you know, like this, but I'm looking all normal up here. And I'm really like, you know, swatting my child to get out of the room. And I can tell you, like, one thing after another, and the faucet stops working, the dishwasher stops working. And it's one thing after another, and somebody says no to you, and somebody cancels their account, somebody asks for a refund, you name it. And it's very easy to fall into the being ungrateful, not seeing the things that matter. So I focus on seeing the good. A great mentor of mine said, in all things and in all people, always see the good. Look to see the things that you want to see. So I should be saying, I'm blessed to be a full-time entrepreneur, to be my own boss, to roll over instead of rolling out if I wanted to in the morning, right? Not that I do, because I'm a morning routine guy. But if I wanted to, I have the luxury, the blessing to be able to do that. Right? The ability to have my kids right here in my house. They're homeschooled. You know, what a blessing is that? We have an environment where we raise our kids the way we see the way they should be raised, right? We're the primary educators of our children. You know, so it's a blessing to be able to have my wife as a stay-at-home mom, homeschooler, who can, you know, raise our kids and educate them and that type of thing. And for me to be home, and for the fact that I'm healthy and my kids are healthy, and all the blessings. So you can look at things in two different ways, right? And sometimes we focus on the wrong things. And where they say where your focus goes, your energy flows. right? So if you're focused on the wrong things, then you're going to start to feel a certain way, and people perform at the level of how they feel. That's just a fact. Do I feel like working out today? Do I feel like making these calls? Do I feel like taking these appointments? Do I feel like following through on my commitment to Heroes Rising today? Stop feeling a certain way and start acting your way into feeling. Because when you act your way into feeling, you show up differently. You start act. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an A+ player. I'm wealthy. I'm creating global impact. I am hyper blessed, right? And you start looking at things from that perspective, and you just take action. You take massive action on anything that you set out to do. And guess what? You start to feel a certain way after the fact that you're already doing what you said you were going to do, long after the feeling of when you said it is gone, also known as discipline. Are you disciplined enough to get the job done? Are you committed enough to say, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to do something, I'm going to follow through? Are you hungry? Or as Les Brown would say, hungry, right? Are you hungry for more? Or are you complacent? Are you just kind of like, you know what? I've done my fair share. I've done some good. Let me tell you something. Extraordinary success requires extraordinary dedication. And extraordinary is just ordinary people doing the extra, right? Doing the extraordinary. That's all it is. It's just the extra on top of the ordinary. And we all have the ability to be extraordinary because we're all ordinary. We just have to go the extra mile, right? And by the way, shout out to Lori, Gabby, Abdel Gadir in Canada, Marco, Micah Yacht, Justin Danforth, Marco Carrington, Dr. Obam, Irene, all of you who are joining us live, Gordon Melville. It's great to see all of you here joining us today on Heroes Rising. I just truly appreciate you guys being a part of this today and watching us here as we add value to everyone. So again, we're all ordinary, but in order to get to that extraordinary life, we have to add that little extra. We got to be fully committed. We have to have the discipline. We have to have commitment. We have to have follow through. We have to have mental toughness. We have to act our way into feeling and stop saying, well, I don't feel like it. Who cares if you don't feel like it? Your kids still got to eat. Your clients still need you to serve them. Your spouse still needs you to love them and be there for them, right? I can go on and on and on. So if we're not careful, guess what happens? If we're not careful to pursue extraordinary, your improvement starts to what? Taper off. Your improvement, your performance starts to taper off. There's a great performance scientist. His name is Anders Ericsson. And he called something an acceptance level, right? The acceptance level. If we're not careful, what happens? We're going to get to a stage of the acceptance level to where we just accept where we are. We remain stuck in this vicious cycle of ordinary. Don't get to that acceptance level stage to where you're just hanging out in the same degree of excellence, right? Excellence requires you to keep pressing forward, to keep putting extra spices in your life, like paprika and oregano and and salt and pepper. And who wants a bland steak? I don't want a bland steak, right? So we got to go that extra mile. So what does that mean? Try doing things that most people aren't doing, so that one day you'll have things that most people don't have, right? So think about this. I want you to evaluate where you are today, right now, wherever you're watching this from. If you're watching this from the park, you're watching this in an airport sitting before you go on your trip, you're watching this in your home office, or you're in your day job and you're watching it from there, or you're a full-time entrepreneur and watching it from the backyard with your cigar, whatever it is that you're doing right now, I want you to think and ask yourself a simple question. Am I pursuing being extraordinary across the board? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. Are you an extraordinary spouse to your wife or to your husband? Are you an extraordinary parent? Are you an extraordinary entrepreneur? Are you an extraordinary employee? So many people forget that while they're building their side hustle, they still have to be extraordinary in their day job. Because that day job is what gives you the income to provide for your family. So build a side hustle, build your business on the side, and get it to some kind of a high level stage at some point. But in the meantime, you better be showing up 110% for your job, because they're still paying you a paycheck. And integrity and character says you got to give them your best while you're still there. Right? So think about that. How are you showing up in all these different areas of your life? Extraordinary. How bad do you want it? Right? And this whole like status quo or comfort where we all end up being, because the acceptance level, we get to a point, and I say we because it happens to all of us. None of us have arrived. Right? I don't care how successful you are. I don't care if you're watching this right now and you're doing really well or you're doing phenomenally well. Whatever it is, we all have room for what? Growth. We all have more learning, growing to do. So I want you to ask yourself, am I in a place where I've hit a certain income level and I'm hanging out here, and I've been hanging out in the same circle for the last 5 years, the last 3 years, the last 2 years, way too long. And there's this ceiling that you hit, right? That you can't seem to pass. If you're not passing that ceiling, it's because you've gotten complacent. It's because you've gotten comfortable. It's because you're not being resourceful enough to figure out a way to get to the next level, the next stage. And the scary part about this whole thing, as I wrap up for my last 2 minutes here, the scary thing about this whole thing is that this ceiling that's above your head, it's a glass ceiling. It's see-through. So you don't even realize it's there. You're looking up at this sky in the world like sky's the limit in your mind, right? But you've already been stopped. You've already hit a ceiling that's transparent that you can see right through. And you see the potential, but you're not passing it because you keep hitting this ceiling that you don't really understand what's blocking you there, because it's transparent and see-through. What you got to do is you got to break that glass ceiling. You got to go to the next level. And where you find that is on the other end of discomfort. You got to live in your discomfort zone. It's on the other end of commitment. Stop deciding you're going to do things and start committing to it. If you say you're going to do something, do it, right? It's that simple. Whatever you want in life, the life that you desire is there for you to create if you want it bad enough. And the reality is we live in a time right now where people don't want it bad enough. And why is that? Because somewhere deep down inside, we don't think we can do it. And that, my friends, is an inside job. That's an inside job. It's not a matter of opportunity. It's a matter of, are you ready to show up the way you need to show up to create the life that you desire? Out of complete, intentional plan of action, attack, ready, set. It's time to go. I hope that was of value.
Oof.
And
Oof.
that,
No, I will tell you, I usually carry a glass cutter, or so I cut that ceiling all the time. It's also having the right tools and knowing how to use them, correct?
absolutely, 100%. And you know what's crazy is a lot of us have a shed in a backyard with all the right tools already just sitting there. The problem is they're collecting dust.
Not mine.
And in some cases, we have the tools already. We just don't know how to use them. We haven't read the manual. So
Powerful.
there's a lot there, a lot to unpack there, but we don't have time today because we're just moving on. Were you going to say something, Stavros? Looks like you're muted.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, the one thing I like what you said, because something I did was about being grateful. Years ago, I can't remember who told me. One of my mentors told me, goes, get up every morning and write 3 things you're grateful for. And you basically train your mind to look what's great instead of getting up in the morning and thinking about all the stuff you got to deal with. And people get into a very negative mind. And I loved your advice as far as, be grateful. And to me, being grateful, it really puts you in a great mood. And all of a sudden, things just work out. And that was the best mental exercise I did. I still do today. And I started like years ago, and it made a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Spot on. And I believe before I introduce our next speaker here, Mother Teresa said it best. She said, do ordinary things with extraordinary love, right? Do ordinary things with extraordinary love. And I think that love in anything that you do, seeing the good in all that you do and how you show up makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And again, it's always that little extra. It's always that little extra, right? So anyway, without further ado, our next speaker today is a phenomenal one, a powerhouse. And I actually met him on this stage, which is pretty cool. So Jerry Duggan is the CEO and senior consultant of BTR Impact LLC, a consulting and training company focused on helping leaders define success on their terms so they can live fulfilled, meaningful, and impactful lives and not lose their faith, their families, or their health. His work experience includes serving the U.S. Army as a combat medic, corporate training facilitator, and organizational development leader. He has led combat zones and corporate offices, learning the ins and outs for building teams and trust through servant leadership. What a powerful word, servant. That's different than a leader, right? Servant leadership. Since 2015, Jerry has been the host and producer of Beyond the Rut podcast, a show that shares encouraging stories and practical advice to help pull listeners out of their ruts and into lives worth living. He always says it's not enough to get out of a rut. He wants you to live beyond the rut. Folks, let's please welcome Jerry. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Jose. You made me sound good, man.
You are, but
Oh, shucks. Now, I remember the last time I was on here, I made a joke that I was the only person on the panel who didn't have any books in the background. It was nothing but toys. And so I'm happy to say that this time I do have a book. It does happen to be my own, which is shameless. But that's not why we're on here, right? We're here to talk about really how to stake out your leadership tent. And when I work with leaders, and I was working with leaders recently, asking them, what keeps them up at night when it comes to engaging their employees at work? We're faced in an economy where a record number of people voluntarily left their jobs in 2022, over 50 million people. And so it outdid what was called the Great Resignation. And these managers shared with me that if they cannot stem that turnover tide in their organization, they're worried that they're going to have to indefinitely have to make up for the work that's not getting done. So because they don't have the people, they have to do the work themselves as leaders, and that's going to burn them out. And they don't want to burn out. They don't want to lose the time with their family. They want to just fill those spaces and keep people happy and keep them thriving. And as I learned that from leader after leader after leader, and then I found out, why are people leaving from their organizations? Gallup did a wonderful study to bring all that data together and find out from employees, why are they leaving? And there were some top 5 reasons why. One of them was, if it's a job that could be done remotely, but the company was still making them come in, they were likely to quit, disengage, and then quit. So that was a big hit. Ironically, though, because there's this demand to work from home or to work hybrid, the next complaint was, I didn't feel connected at work, either to the mission, to my leader, to the people who I work with. So because I was working at home, I felt disconnected. Therefore, I wasn't happy there. But then the next 3 big reasons were very much what was tried and true and known before the pandemic. And that was, 1, I did not feel cared for by the organization. The second one was, or I guess 4th on this list, was that I did not see opportunities for growth in my career, professionally, skills, progression in my career. I didn't see any of that. And then the last one, the 5th one, was my manager did not share with me opportunities for growth. And so when you see those 3, it's like, well, those are kind of a problem to begin with. And the first two are really about connecting and being proactive about that. So that's what we're looking at from the employee side. In talking with HR leaders, I found out that some of their frustrations were, even though they're doing the things that need to be done to be competitive, they're doing market adjustments for compensation so they compete with their competitors on pay. It doesn't seem to be enough. No one ever seems to be fully happy when you raise the salaries. It's weird. We say that's what we want, but once we get it, it usually lasts about 2 weeks, and we're back to not liking what we are faced with. Another problem that came up from HR directors was that a lot of efforts to gauge employees and their sense of satisfaction never seemed to be done in a genuine way. It never seemed like they cared as an organization until 2 weeks prior to the survey going out. All of a sudden, it's all the free ice cream you can eat, all the free pizza parties. We're going to have a picnic on the quad. We're going to give away all the swag, all that stuff. And so that's coming from the HR leaders. And another thing that HR leaders would share was that they just wish that managers realized they had a big part to play in the engagement of their teams. So I spoke to a number of managers to get a feel for what their concerns were around the engagement of their employees and stemming that turnover tide. So how do you expel employee dissatisfaction, those kinds of things? And those managers, hands down, said a lot of the same things. They love that the company was taking a stand to make compensation competitive. They love the activities that were meant to boost morale. And they also like that organizations were developing for the first time, if not just update them, but maybe for the first time, career pathways. So how does somebody come in as an entry-level position and find a progression to promotions and growth in their career? And they love that. However, the problem that they were still faced with was that while those things are coming and they take time to implement and get just right, they still have people leaving in droves. So what could I do as a manager to stop that tide, to stop that flow going out and bring people in? And it just made me realize, looking at the 7 pillars of servant leadership, which is hard to remember. Like, I talk about servant leadership and I don't remember all 7 pillars. I remember the gist of them. And I was on a ruck march. So I'm fusing all the fitness stuff I can here, guys. So I really was on a ruck march. I really did throw on a 25-pound pack. I went for a 3-mile walk into downtown Dallas. So from front door, did my loop, back was about 3 miles. And about halfway through, when I was ready to quit, but the only home was to walk, it hit me that there are 4 key stakes that a leader needs to have if they want their team to feel cared for and see growth opportunities in front of them. And that's where staking out your leadership tent came into play. So tent, it's an acrostic because I love those things. I was in the military. We're the kings of 3-letter acronyms, TLAs. And TLA. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is tent. So the first letter, trust building. So that a leader who is engaging, that is building trust, who is just doing the activities that build trust over time, is going to build the loyalty to have people stay. And one of the skills that I teach that helps build trust is having your own leadership credo. Credo is Latin, I believe, for I believe. So being able to share in one statement what I stand for as a leader communicates to your team, this is what you can expect from me, and you can hold me accountable to that and challenge me on that. Now, that's trust building. And there's a lot of other things you could do to build trust, and a couple other skills I do teach help build that trust. But the second letter, intent, E, for empowering. Managers are really good about making sure that your employees have the logistics needed, the processes, the procedures to get the job done. Leaders go a little bit further and make sure that they've shared enough of their authority and decision making so that the employees, the team members, can make decisions in the moment on their own within certain guardrails and not have to go to the leader for every single decision. They're able to think. One of the common complaints I hear in healthcare is that my nurses don't practice critical thinking. And that may be the case in your industry. Well, if you delegate the decision making to a certain level, you are now helping them build that critical thinking. The next letter, N, is for navigating. People want growth opportunities. So how do they get there? You could do that through coaching, through providing feedback on a regular basis, not just waiting for the annual performance review, but monthly or quarterly, letting your people know how they're doing, working with them to establish goals for themselves that hopefully align also with what the organization needs. But then one thing I love that helps people navigate their careers and grow is to delegate responsibilities, not just tasks, but delegate responsibilities. And I talk about I can't go into it here, we don't have enough time, but 4 levels of decision making from carry, crawl, walk to run. And those levels give you a progression of growth in that area of responsibility. And the last letter, T, for thriving together. Because a lot of times leaders kind of get caught up in the work. They forget to celebrate their employees until maybe a birthday or the annual work and the anniversary. And it's like, hey, congratulations, you didn't get fired in the last year. Hopefully you stick around for another year. However, if you can celebrate with them, a lot of more wins. So if somebody's leading a project for the first time, that's a win. If somebody led a meeting for the first time, that's a win. If somebody's child graduated top of his or her class or their class, that's a win. Celebrate with them, thrive with them. Think about the whole person thriving in your organization, not just did you get the widgets done today. So that's staking out your leadership tent. 3 key skills around that are having your leadership credo, delegating with decision-making levels, and one thing I didn't mention, which is rounding with your employees with intentionality. So that is leadership tent, and I think I've eaten up a ton of time. So I'm going to hand it back to Sifu Rafael and Jose.
Amazing. Wowee, the leadership tent. So thank you so much for that. You're a rock star, both Stavros and Jerry. You guys really brought it today. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone who's here commenting and engaging. We appreciate all that. That's a lot of engagement today, and obviously we see why. So that was phenomenal. Make sure you connect with Jerry and connect with Stavros. They gave you their links. Definitely people you should know and have in your circle. So without further ado, we have our final speaker today, and we're going to keep it right moving into our main event, I guess you could say. Since you're last, I guess we'll consider you the main event, right? This gentleman, Sifu Rafael, is a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. 10,000 square foot facility. I love to say that, 10,000 square foot facility. Not many people can say that they have a school at the level of his. I mean, not only is it big, but it's big in terms of the types of members and the community that he's built there and the impact that he's creating. He's the founder and host of 4 unique podcast shows, which, guess what, are all done live, just like this one. This is one of them. So he has the Coaching Call that covers various types of coaching styles by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, business, mindset, relationships, and leadership. Definitely check out Coaching Call, which is an amazing show. Then he has Heroes Rising, and here we feature 2 powerful coaches every other week, and we're here today. This is Heroes Rising. We love it, and keep tuning in every other week. We love having you here. And then the Sear Show is bringing the world together from New York all the way to Queensland, Australia. That's a big gap that he's bridging every Tuesday at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time. And then his latest show is called New Tip Daily, which is Monday through Friday, where he delivers tips on business, family, mindset, fitness, and health. You definitely want to make sure you tune into that. Without further ado, Sifu Rafael, the floor is yours. Let's give him a big, warm welcome. I can't wait. I have my pen and pad ready. Let's go. The floor is yours.
So yeah, for the best experience, I always say every time you look at a show like this one, definitely have pen and pad ready, because somebody's going to say one thing to you or about what they do, and you're going to go, that's it. That's what I need. First of all, I want to thank you, Jerry, and every service person who's ever served in the military, who has kept us safe and comfy in our homes. So thank you for your service. And I salute you, my friend, and everybody out there. I am so grateful to all of you. I appreciate everybody being here on this show. Thank you today. I really appreciate that as well. Today, I want to discuss the fascinating world of redefining thought patterns. And that's something that we've been talking about this whole time, your thought patterns and how it can lead to your personal transformation. It has to be personal. I will share with you 6 key ingredients on how our thoughts, your thoughts, shape your reality, influencing our emotions, actions, and ultimately the outcomes we experience in life. Let's consider this. By reshaping our thought patterns, we gain the power to break free from self-applied limitations. What does that mean even? Self-applied, that means that you put them on yourself, which will aid in reacting and reaching new heights of personal growth and empowerment. I'm asking you to join me on this journey of self-discovery. Every day, I am on a self-discovery journey. And listen, you need to learn how to redefine your thought patterns. Here they are, in no particular order: understanding, recognizing limiting beliefs, challenging and redefining thought patterns, reframing, nurturing new thought patterns, and finally, personal development tools. And we talked about some of those already. So, thought patterns, they're habitual ways in which we think. Stavros already talked about the habits that stop us or help us, right? So think about all that you do, interpret the information, and respond to the situations. They are formed through a combination of our upbringing. That's right, the way you grew up, the experiences, your beliefs, and conditioning. Thoughts have a profound impact on our emotions, our behavior, and overall well-being. Think about your behavior. Your thoughts make you act a certain way. They can either propel us forward or hold us back from reaching our true potential. Jose talked about hitting a glass ceiling. And my first thing was, you know what? He's absolutely right. What must we do? We need to have the right tools. And sometimes a tool, and I don't want to say this negatively, is another person. A person who's going to help you, a coach, a mentor, a teacher, a friend, somebody who has your best interest in mind. So developing self-awareness is crucial to identifying your limiting beliefs, your limiting thought patterns. It involves taking a deeper look into ourselves, observing our thoughts, our beliefs, and the narratives we tell ourselves. Let's explore some common types of limiting thought patterns. Let's start with negative self-talk. Wow. So many people say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. So self-criticism and even doubt. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. Stop that. So think about this. Blowing things out of proportion. I've known so many people who do that. I'm sure you do too. Imagining worst case scenarios, drawing broad negative conclusion based on limiting or limited experiences. When we go with all or nothing thinking, think about it's this or nothing else is going to matter. That's limiting. So viewing situations in extremes without acknowledging alternative outcomes, that's dangerous, people. This was one of my own hangups. I did it myself early on, assuming we know what others are thinking or jumping to conclusions about their intentions. Man, that can hurt you so much. I've learned so much from even paying attention to what I do. Once we identify our limiting thought patterns, it is essential to question and to even challenge them. I'm gonna pose to you some questions to ask yourself. I do recommend you jot these down and ponder them before answering them at all. Literally, jot them down. Don't answer them right away. Is this thought based on evidence or assumption? Write that one down. Is this based on evidence or what I think it is? What evidence supports or contradicts these thoughts? These thoughts, many thoughts, what are they saying? Is it contradictory? Are there alternative perspectives or interpretations to what I'm thinking or what I'm listening to? How does this thought serve or limit me? I highly recommend to replace negative self-talk with positive and empowering statements. Let's do our best to replace irrational thoughts with rational ones and balanced ones. I call this cognitive restructuring, using what we know, what others know. This is why having a coach is super important. Use the power of imagination to envision positive outcomes. Always imagine. Take a scenario. If I ask a girl out, do I even ask her out? If you're a girl, do you ask a guy out? Or should he ask me? So take every scenario and come up with 10 different outcomes. So this will help to reinforce your new thought patterns. What if they say no? What if they say yes? What if they say not now? What if they say you're not ready yet? Then you know you'd have to take actions to become ready. So visualization and even dreaming, it's always best to set plans for your dreams so they don't end up, you know where? In the cemetery. Because the cemetery may be dead or full of dead people, but it's truly full of dead dreams, people who did not put action to their thoughts. So let's also talk about gratitude. Focus on what you appreciate and the positive aspects of your life. I personally have a gratitude session every morning and every evening, and many times during the day. I am very aware, extremely aware of what I face daily by staying present. I observe my thoughts. I ask you to do the same, non-judgmentally, literally. Just, it's a thought. Whether it's a right thought or a wrong thought, jot it down if you need to, and redirect them towards positive and constructive patterns. Redefining your thought patterns requires consistent effort and repetition. You got to do this daily. You can't do it once a week, once a month, every single day. Question it. Practice new ways of thinking daily, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Remember to be consistent and follow a routine, listen, or an agenda that will allow you to have the repetition necessary to change the thoughts that make you unique. Because you are. You're a beautiful person. You're a beautiful soul. You have so much to offer. So how do you change your thoughts? Let's consider money. Start saying to yourself, money is good. It is not evil. With money, I can do more. I can provide more for my family. I can help my community. I can help my neighbors. I am a money magnet. You know, if you see a penny on the floor and you step over it, it's not because if you pick it up, it's not because you're cheap. It's because you are a what? A money magnet. And you pick up that penny. I mean, you can't buy anything nowadays with a penny, but you add up a penny and you keep adding it up. All of a sudden it becomes $1, $10, 20, 40, 50, 100, thousands. You pick up that penny and you say, wow, I am a money magnet. Money will help you in so many different ways. So change your beliefs about money. Engage in activities and spend time with individuals who inspire and uplift you. I got to tell you, you have to surround yourself with people who breathe positivity. Consume books. Look at Jose. Look at the background he's got. That's not a fake background. What are you currently reading? What articles have you read lately? What podcasts are you listening to? My car is my university on wheels, and sometimes my phone allows me to listen to audiobooks so I can empower myself. I am all about resources that promote positive thinking and personal growth, no matter where the source comes from, where the inspiration comes from. Follow it. For example, this show, I personally learned so much from everyone today, and every time I am thrilled to be on this show. And I think Jose agrees with me. Every time we've had amazing, amazing guests on here. So create a personalized list of affirmations. I know Jose has them. Look, I have somebody gave me this amazing gift. It's a deck of Proverbs, right? From the Bible. And you can read one every day. And I got to tell you, affirmations work. They change your thought patterns. Write them down on index cards. I know Jose has a bunch. And it's so incredible when we believe in who we are. I'm going to leave you guys with something. Think about your thoughts and what you do with them. So journaling is going to be a big thing for you. So as I promised you, the first thing I talked about was understanding your thought patterns, recognizing your limiting thought patterns, changing and channeling and redefining your thought patterns, and reframing, nurturing thought patterns. And lastly, your tools for development. I leave you with this. Redefining your thought patterns is a powerful tool for personal transformation by consuming and examining and reshaping the way you think. You can break from limiting beliefs. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to share with you today. Love it. Ta-da!
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Sifu Raphael. That was phenomenal. And thank you all for your contributions. Thank you all for being here. What an amazing, amazing show today. It was just great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Gentlemen, I know that, and I know Jose probably has a similar mentor to me. I don't want to wish you a weekend because that would make you weak and it would make you at the end, right? So let's have it a strong end and make it exceptional. You guys, we are thrilled that you made the time to be here with us today. Thank you. And everybody listening, sharing, God bless you. Have an exceptional day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you.